Support us. Perfect. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining the monthly IEA webinar. My name is Lisa Jordan. I'm the Managing Director of the IEA, and I'm also the Executive Director of the Executives Association of Charlotte in Charlotte, North Carolina. So wonderful to see so many of you on the call, familiar faces and new faces as well. I think we have representation from all over here. So far, we've got Edmonton and lots of Sonoma County love for Natasha, and also Honolulu and Akron, Ohio, and Charlotte, and anyone else I missed. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here and joining us on the webinar. Before I turn things over to Natasha, I just wanted to put in a quick plug for the IEA conference. Can anyone tell me where the conference is this year?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Yes, Christine. Thank you. Thanks, Cindy. Yeah, so we are headed to fun and fabulous Sin City, Las Vegas, September 24th through 26th. The conference is about a day and a half of content. For those wondering, there's a full agenda with all the speakers listed on the IEA website. The best possible price that we're offering is ending on July 31st. So if you are interested in coming or thinking about coming and you want to make sure you're paying the best price, because who doesn't love the best price, July 31st is the deadline for that, and then the price is going to go up a bit, I think like maybe by $50 or so excuse me, after that time. So would love for you to consider joining us in Las Vegas. We're kicking things off with a cocktail hour on Tuesday, and then content all day Wednesday, and then a half day Thursday. So it's kind of the perfect amount of time for you to still enjoy all that Vegas has to offer and make some great IEA connections. And this conference is for any executive association member, whether you're involved at the board level or not, it doesn't matter. If you're a business owner, this is for you. There's lots of really great speakers, and then we also have some fun social events planned as well. So if you have any questions about the conference, I will put my contact information in the chat. Please feel free to reach out to me. And as also, if you are interested in the webinars, maybe this is your first one, and you're like, hey, this is really cool. I have a great topic and I'd like to host a webinar, then please reach out to me about that as well. We book those every month. They're usually about the third Tuesday or so of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern. They're 1 hour, and basically any topic that could appeal to a wide range of industries, any business owners in general, that's something that we're interested in. So would love to talk to you about that in more detail. Okay, I'm done talking about IEA stuff because that's not why you joined the call today. So I want to introduce my new friend, Natasha. Natasha Stocker of the Sonoma County Execs is founder and CEO of Inspired Spaces, an award-winning boutique interior design firm known for its unexpected style and bend towards sustainable and healthy building practices. She started the business in 2005, and over the past 19 years, she's designed some of the most well-known restaurants and hotels in wine country. She has multiple industry certifications, being the one that she is most proud of. The WELL designation makes her an expert in health-focused design. I'm excited to hear more about that. Natasha lives in Forestville, California with her husband, son, and their pup. And in her spare time, Natasha is an avid reader, gardener, fly fisher, kayaker, and tea drinker. She's a lifelong fan of the Giants and Warriors and dreams to one day design a player's home. That would be cool. Okay, so with that, I'm going to turn things over to Natasha. Take it away.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to share my screen here. And let's see how this goes.
We can see you and the screen. Very cool.
You can? Okay, good. Am I over here?
You need to teach me how to do that. I don't even know how to do what you're doing.
Okay, so we're talking today about a healthy bottom line, meaning health in the workplace, but also a lot of these elements being able to increase your bottom line and bulk up your bottom line for your business themselves. So attracting and retaining top talent, having your employees lead more productive, happy, healthy work days. And when I say employees, this also is you. If you're a sole proprietor, A lot of these tips and tricks that we're going to talk about today are really helpful in just creating your own space to make it the best it can possibly be. All right, so do me a favor. Let's do a quick exercise. Imagine yourself in the most relaxing and rejuvenating place you can think of. A lot of time, you can write it in the comments. That would be fun. It'd be fun to see what people say. A lot of times people think of a tropical place, oceans, maybe hiking on a path in the mountains, maybe at a temple or a place of worship, or just maybe sitting in the garden. What did some people?
You have people chiming in with Hawaii, the ocean. I think it's unfair because we have a lot of Honolulu folks on the call, so they already live in paradise.
That is unfair. I would say Hawaii too. Yeah. Yeah.
Sitting in the sunshine, any place with waterfalls, green trees, the tropics.
Nice, nice. Well, did anyone think of this? No?
No.
So really, the cubicle is not something that inspires health and well-being. It's not a place we think of when we think of let's go to someplace relaxing and rejuvenating. Obviously, the idea and the concept is, I'm guessing most of the people in the comments talked about somewhere outside, somewhere in nature. A lot of times people will say, if it's an indoor place, sometimes people will say their bedroom or a place of worship makes them feel the most at peace. And I'm going to guess that their bedroom or their place of worship has a lot of the elements that we're talking about today. But otherwise, really, nature is where it's at. And that is the name of the game today. So this office space is a little bit more enticing, right? It's not Hawaii, but it's a beautiful view out the window at the trees. There's natural elements that we've brought in. So there's natural wood elements, and it's clean, it's serene, and simple. And we have some plant life as well. So odds are something that you envisioned in your head is a place that makes you feel safe. What if you are in a place now that you read the heading of today's webinar and said, okay, I'm not that into health and wellness, but I'm interested in little things that I can do to make my work life better. Or I saw this girl with pink hair, and so I logged on and let's see what she says. Whatever the reason is, I will tell you that simple changes that you make that you'll learn about today has the power to increase productivity of you and your staff by upwards of 30%. So it would significantly, it is proven to significantly cut down on sick days, on workers' comp claims, as well as what a lot of people are calling oh, I'm blanking. Anyway, I'm moving on. So as a bonus point, what do you think I Googled when I found this image? It's 2 words that I put into the Google search bar.
Maybe like boring office or typical cubicle, I'm scared to say.
Yes, really close. It was sad office. And this was the first one that came up.
Yeah, that typewriter kind of gives it away, or whatever that is in the corner. Yeah.
So what if this was your office? What if this was your space that you walked into every day, or your lobby that you walked through to get into your office space? What would that do to your peace of mind? What would that do to your blood pressure? You know, a lot of people, blood pressure raises as soon as they walk through the door and sit at their desk, because they know what's, you know, coming. the week ahead, I have to have some pretty difficult conversations with people, and sometimes they're really cranky. And I have to say, if I sit on this bench with them, I think it's going to be okay. Like, it just looks so peaceful and so serene, and it sort of invites you outside, and that is the whole point of this wellness centered design. So this silver fox over here is our 17th Surgeon General of the United States, and he just talks about how much time, which is 90% of our lives, we spend indoors, whether that's in office buildings, in other places, at home. And so that is where we need to start in terms of fostering health and wellness. It makes the most sense. We'll deliver positive health outcomes at scale, but also not to mention the many economic benefits for organizations implementing these science-backed strategies. And this really is science-based. So what I'm going to explain is years of research and so much science that goes into how we as humans perceive the space around us, and how that affects us, and how that affects every system of our body. It's fascinating. So here's the agenda for the rest of our time together. One of my friends says, no agenda, no attenda. So I always write one. So I'll do a little intro and tell you my wellness origin story so I can sound like a superhero. And then what is the wellness boom and why should I care? We're going to talk about wellness travel, real estate, and in the workplace. Those are the three biggies right now in sort of this wellness design world. Then we'll dive into what is the well building standard. There's actually standards that exist that are called WELL, and you could certify a building WELL certified. We'll talk about that, and also how it's measured and quantified, because I have all of these statistics and facts, but you will see that they are taken from people who are working in these places that have been well certified or have used sort of these wellness tips and tricks, and it's amazing the difference that it makes in their daily lives. We're going to talk about sick building syndrome. That's becoming a big buzzword. Absenteeism versus presenteeism. I just learned about presenteeism. Basically, you're at work, but you're checked out. Current trends and employee priorities. So this is great for my HR peeps on the call. From baby boomers to Gen Z, kind of what each category finds most important when looking for a job. So how to attract top talent, keeping them with high job satisfaction, and then finally, actionable steps that you can take to make effective change. So steps you can take today to make effective change that cost you nothing, that it's free 99. And then you could also do some moderate investment where you're bringing in some things into your office space or making small aesthetic changes. And then we'll talk about larger investment if that's something you're interested in. The very last page of this whole presentation, if you're a nerd like me and want to geek out on all this stuff, there are all of the references, and you could go down a rabbit hole and look into everything. But today we're going to do kind of a surface level run through. Here's my family. My husband is a nurse, and my son is getting ready to go to college. He's about to go to Cal Poly Pomona and study mechanical engineering. This is my work family. We are a small business and work on lots of wonderful local projects. And we have a building here that I feel uses a lot of these wellness tactics. We have designed some restaurants in the area. So here is one that we recently finished. We have done hotel projects. as well, mostly boutique hotels. And also some private residences and Airbnbs. I will tell you my superhero story. So my very first memory is waking up in a bed like this when I was 2 years old. And what happened was my parents had put me from a crib to a brand new bed, brand new mattress. And I was allergic to the off-gassing of that mattress, so the chemicals that were in that mattress. So my parents came to check on me in the middle of the night, and I was blue and my lungs had collapsed. So sort of throughout my life, I've had this thing where I'm just really careful about chemicals and really careful about environmental sensitivities and things like that. And, you know, having that as your first memory, it definitely instills a part of you to be careful with what you purchase, making good choices, and buying things sustainably that aren't going to hurt the planet or people. Now I get to design with my design background, but also with my wellness certification. So I went through the WELL training, and now I am a WELL accredited professional, which means that I am an expert at designing spaces that help keep people healthy, that make people healthy, and hopefully keep the planet healthy as well. We have won some local awards here. Again, small business, but we love what we do, and we love that we're more geared towards health and wellness and sustainability. And then there's all these companies. And so what do I have that's the same as all of these companies? All of these companies use these WELL principles, these wellness principles that we're going to talk about, and they implement them into their culture, into their rules and regulations, into kind of every facet of their business. So you can see there's some pretty big names up there. And why do you think companies like this, like big businesses, would care about wellness? The global wellness economy is expected to reach 8.5 trillion in 2027. It is absolutely the fastest growing industry that's happening right now. And like I said, we're going to talk about a few specifics, but you're going to be hearing about it all the time if you haven't yet. Wellness travel, wellness tourism has become huge. So they're expecting it to reach 1.3 trillion by next year. It's growing by 16.6% annually. That's insane. People plan vacations around health and wellness. They work so hard that they go, okay, when I am going on vacation, I am going to relax, and I would rather spend money on my personal journey of health and wellness than I would want to spend on things. So that is a huge trend in travel, in real estate, in the workplace. People prefer quality of life over things, and even over pay rate with some people. So that's something to really consider. So anyone in the hospitality industry on this call, rooms are running for 20% more per night than their standard counterparts. So I'm sure you've seen, you know, the Hilton has wellness floors. They're trying this out, right? Different big hotel companies are trying out, well, what can we really, like, do people really care enough to be on a wellness floor and pay more? Yes. They are always booked. They are 20% more per night. And, you know, they have better water filters, better shower filters on the shower, organic bedding. Not a huge amount of difference, to be honest. But that's something to consider. Real estate. This is really interesting as well. Wellness real estate obviously really boomed after the pandemic. That really, it was already starting, but then the pandemic hit and it just went nuts. But you are seeing that residential developments average 10 to 25% over conventional. So if you add health and wellness entities to your house, say, and you're selling your house, that adds value, that adds perceived value. That makes people feel wonderful when they walk through the door and go, I don't know what it is, but I need this house. So real estate agents on the call, definitely keep that in mind, or people who are selling their house. So it is, real estate is a really fast growing sector, and it's outpacing projections even from experts. Something to consider. Wellness in the workplace. So structure is changing, like I talked about. People are really looking for quality of work-life balance. They're really looking for kind of a holistic approach to going to work, and not just a paycheck every other week. Also, so employers have to shift. We have to. And the Global Wellness Institute is, I have a link on the last page for that as well. It's a phenomenal resource. But they estimate that workforce unwellness, so chronic disease, pain, stress, depression, all of these things, cost the global economy upwards of 10 to 15% of output every year. That is massive when we think about it, right? We all go to work, and depending on our productivity, we as individuals all add up to really affecting the global economy at a much larger scale. This is a real buzzword right now, and if you haven't heard it, you're going to hear it. It's called biophilia, and biophilic design. This catalog cover just came to me yesterday, so I had to put it on here. It's from Living Spaces, which is like a big box furniture store. And I thought, oh my gosh, like the big box furniture stores, it's becoming mainstream. Like they're on the biophilia train. It basically is elements of nature and bringing that into the space. So it has been proven that nature and those shapes, those colors, the sounds, the light, feeling of nature is ingrained in our DNA to want that. And that makes us feel safe. So that's one of the reasons why all of us at the beginning of this call said, oh my gosh, I want to be outside. I want to be in Hawaii. I want to be by the water. Nature is one of those things that is sort of this constant element that brings us all together. And so biophilia and biophilic design is bringing those elements inside. So that means adding branches, adding a wallpaper with branches, right? Or you can see it in a lot of hotels, they'll do leaf prints on the carpet, or things like that. It brings in those elements. And you're never going to travel the same way again after this call, because you're going to go through and go, oh my gosh, biophilia. And it's not on accident. All of this is on purpose, and it's to make us feel calm and at peace and serene, right? Here's our office. I thought I'd give a little before and after. So the before one has the chain link fence and white painted handrails. And then I brought in the wood railing, the plants, painted the walls green, and really brought in a lot of warmth and biophilic elements. And that has been huge. The staff loves the after. And it makes it really nice to work. Basically, you can see we work over a warehouse. So it could be really uninhabitable and unfriendly, but we've made it like this beautiful garden that all the offices look out to, and it makes a big difference in our space. All right, so we're gonna talk about wellness in the workplace, which is, I know, why we are all here. Let's see.
Uh-oh. What just happened? Erica, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here. That's
Okay.
weird because I'm like, what's going on upstairs?
Right?
Our Wi-Fi seems to be working, so I don't know. She'll jump back on.
Okay. Like we're just getting to the good part.
Well, that's the hook. I think that's where Natasha's like, okay, if you want to hear more, please subscribe to. So.
While we're waiting on her to rejoin, how do those plants do with like office light? I mean, do you have natural light that reaches those plants?
We do. And I don't know if you can kind of see it from the photos that we actually have 3 roll-up doors as well.
Okay.
So especially summertime right now, I mean, we have them cracked open. But yeah, we're fortunate enough to have a space that actually has some skylights. So yeah, they definitely, I mean, they were little guys when we put them in there, and now they are really just flourishing. So it's great. I mean, yeah, Natasha's amazing. I'm going off tangent, but she's an amazing boss, and allows us to even take clippings, right? Because we had to trim them, because these plants get out of control here. So I mean, like, we all kind of luck out with letting people to take some of these and bringing them into our office space as well. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
Okay, Natasha, you're back.
I'm back. I'm sorry. All of a sudden I just went, oh my goodness, what happened? Here we go. We're gonna get back here. And okay. Let me put this away here. That's what happened. Okay. All right, are we good?
Yes, you're back.
Again? Okay, perfect. So these are, someone on the call was from Canada. So this is a company in Vancouver and Toronto. They have 2 places. They took their offices and got them well certified, which we'll talk about. And your question is going to be, do I have to go through all of that? And the answer is no. You can implement, my office is not well certified. You can implement a lot of the conditions for well certification without going through the process and still reap a lot of the benefits and the rewards. So at CBRE in Toronto and Vancouver, the employee turnover rate dropped 33% the first year that they implemented these well criteria. Kundal is actually the first well certified structure in Europe, and that's in London. This was in 2016 is when they started. They reported employee absenteeism dropped by more than 50% in the first year. Landsec reported a productivity increase of 30% in their well certified workspace. So employees feel seen and appreciate that leadership is putting their health and well-being first. And that makes them want to work harder. That makes them more proud and productive and excited to do work. So here, let's talk about the well building standard. How many of you are familiar with LEED? Who has seen this emblem or plaque on a building? We have a lot of them in California, and I know that this is worldwide, but LEED means leadership in energy and environmental design. So what LEED does is takes these processes and rates, it gives you a rating. It gives you grades on how close are you to public transportation? How sustainable is your site that you're building on? How efficient are you at water consumption during the build process, but also after the fact, right? Do you do water recycling and things like that? So all of these elements are really important, and they're mostly geared towards the environment and how building and how these building standards affect the environment and the planet. So WELL takes these elements and sort of kicks them up a notch and talks about how these elements plus more, which I'll show you, affects the people living in the building or existing in the building or existing in the space. So this is an actual standard, just like LEED, and it is absolutely grounded in science and medical research. And we will talk about the aspects. This is from the International Well Building Institute, which is who puts on WELL. Essentially, you are graded just like LEED in all of these categories. So your building or your office space is graded on air quality measuring. So one of the hardest parts for my test taking to get my WELL AP was having to remember how many particles per million was an allowable tolerance for interior office space. Things like that. It got really technical to the point where, you know, they want people to truly understand how important these elements are in a space that we spend 90% of our time, right? So air, water, nourishment, so good, healthy food, light, access to daylight is really important. Movement, obviously, that speaks for itself. Thermal comfort, right? If it's too hot, you know, bugs can grow, bacteria and diseases can spread more easily. Sound, is it a relatively loud office space? You hear traffic out the window all the time, things like that. That can really get annoying and stressful after a while. Materials are all about, you know, the cleanest, greenest materials you can find and afford. But it's also about having, possibly purchasing products that are close by, right? There might be the greenest thing possible available in China right now, but then that has to sit on a container ship and then a freight train and then sometimes an airplane and another truck to get to my build site. So it's weighing out all of those pros and cons of material selection. Mind is all about mindfulness. It's about you know, feeling safe in your space, feeling able to be yourself, and having that that sense of well-being. Community is just like how it sounds, feeling like a member of a community. And so a lot of these things you will see are not just items that you need to buy to change your space. These are things that are a change in culture, making them free. All of these things you get graded on this WELL scorecard. So you could have, depending on how you score, is what level, you know, of medal you've won, like the Olympics in wellness. These are how many projects are going on right now. So these are actually WELL certified. These are not people just putting plants in their office like me. These are people who are going through the WELL certification process. And it is now in 126 countries, 100 plus Fortune 500 companies, and growing and growing and growing. The reason why this is growing so exponentially is because people are seeing an absolute return on investment from going through this process. Yeah, okay. So we're going to focus on air because in honor of my fragile lungs. So you can see on the list, air is broken up into all these subcategories. So that's how you get graded. You can see the P on the left. Those are things that are preconditions, meaning those you absolutely have to have those in order to qualify for a well-certified building. So the first 4 you can see are things you have to do. You don't have a choice. The rest of those are point values. So if you do some sort of really cool ventilation design where, the roof opens up and everything, all the toxins get sucked out of the roof and, something really cool like that, you get an extra 3 points. So those are things that help you, win the medals. I'm like a Olympics thing today. So as I said, 90% of our time indoors. Air pollution is a top 5 factor causing chronic disease. This one I thought was really interesting. We consume nearly 8 times as much air by volume as food and 4 times as much air as water. That I thought was amazing to think about. A lot of us want really pure drinking water. A lot of us want, eat really clean food, but we don't always think about the air we breathe. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. The last thing that's really fascinating that has become an issue, I would say, in the last 15 years especially, is that people are really, people are building better. And I know it doesn't sound like a problem. Construction is so airtight that it doesn't allow houses and buildings to breathe. So there is no air exchange. And so that is the reason why air inside the house can be 5 times worse than the air outside, because there is no air exchange. So fresh air is really important to think about. Sick building syndrome. Has anyone heard of sick building syndrome? This is a relatively new thing, but I'm hearing about it a lot. Well, mostly because I'm interested in all this health and wellness stuff. But they're realizing that toxins in buildings, that the lack of natural light in buildings, it's causing people everything from depression to headaches to fatigue to also to the point of not being able to sleep well. And so this is becoming an actual thing. So presenteeism, at work but out of it. This was a good one to learn about because what experts say is that absenteeism actually costs the company less money than presenteeism. Meaning, if you are sick or if you have a migraine or something like that, it is better for the company that you stay home and rest and not do anything. When you come in and you're not 100%, you're actually costing the company quite a bit because you're not operating at maximum potential. So it is important to encourage employees to stay home when they're sick and to not feel the guilt about not coming in. This says here, depression and pain combined are almost $100 billion a year in losses, which is insane. And that is just presenteeism. So here's another project we did, which I love, and this describes a peaceful scene to me too. But people more than ever, like I said, are prioritizing health and well-being over material goods. They are prioritizing health and wellness experiences. They are prioritizing kind of their own journey over buying more things and over, like I said, even over their salary sometimes. All right, here's the HR folks. Here we go. Desired benefits by generation. So you can see, if you find yourself on the chart, what I thought was fascinating is throughout, no matter what, health and wellness was number one for every single category, which I was shocked by. I got this statistic not from a health and wellness site. This is from an HR site. So I did research of what does each generation want? Because I've been hearing a lot about Gen Z. Like Gen Z wants, you know, the mobility. They want a better quality of work-life balance. That, you know, this is all what Gen Z, but I was like, what does everybody else want? And so I looked this up. And so this is just a generic HR website. So what's fascinating is everyone's a little bit different, and they rate things a little bit differently, but across the board, health and wellness is number one. This is the Kundal office again in London. It's an engineering office. The initial changes they made were air quality sensors. They incorporated plants, right, to break down CO2 and instill more oxygen in the space. Better water filters. They bought healthy snacks and access to daylight. So they moved their spaces around and gave people in their break room access to natural light. So in gathering spaces, that's something that's really important. And as you can see, they cut absenteeism exponentially. It's just unbelievable just by those 5 changes. This is a little before and after of our space. So this is our reception area. Again, you can see some of the things I've been talking about, bringing in natural wood elements, bringing in plants and other things that represent nature. Again, it can just be a shape. It doesn't have to be an actual, you know, tree or an actual plant, but it can be a leaf print, or it can be soft curving lines. All of those things are nice for our psyche to be welcomed into. Okay, initial changes you can start today. Starts with company culture. Build a culture around health and well-being. If you are the head of your company, share how you keep yourself healthy. Share it with your team. Oh, I went on a bike ride this weekend. I did this. It is nice to see people in leadership taking good care of themselves. And I think that that's really important to explain to your staff and encourage them to do the same thing. So healthy habits like regular stretch breaks. I have a few employees that have a stretch timer, like a break timer. And so every 15 minutes, people are, you know, stretching their neck or doing a little downward dog on the floor. And, you know, it really helps posture. It helps your overall sense of well-being. It sort of breaks up the day. And, you know, same with walking during lunch breaks, just really being outside at any time is great. Healthy eating. You could even put up posters about healthy eating, or have someone come in. At the last line, it says lunch and learns. Bring in experts to talk about healthy eating or exercise, or you know, how to keep good posture during the day. Consider outdoor activities for team building, like a hike, maybe instead of, you know, beers after work, even though beers after work can be really good too, but like in moderation. You could ask for a volunteer to be the wellness ambassador for your company and plan activities. So how cool would it be if you were interviewing someone who you thought, oh man, this is a really high value target employee. This one would be awesome to get. And you said, well, we have a wellness ambassador. I mean, that sounds badass, right? So especially to people who think that that is the most important thing to them when they're looking at a company. Encourage workers to stay home when they're sick. You know, we talked about that. Definitely helpful. These are the things that you can bring in. So colors, shapes, textures from nature, rocks, plants, trees, you know, all the things, waves, water. A lot of people mentioned water at the beginning. Water is obviously such a wonderful cleansing sort of element, and even images, even beautiful landscape paintings, right? If you don't have a view, bring in a mural, bring in a landscape painting, bring in something that really inspires you, bring something back from a trip you went on to that place, right? Bring back a painting or a photograph you took in Hawaii and blow it up and put it on your wall. Anything that's inspiring is bringing a little bit of that element back into your workspace, and that helps you on so many different levels. You don't have to wait till you go on vacation to have those sort of dopamine, you know, warm, fuzzy feelings. Studies have shown that timber in particular relaxes the autonomic nervous system. So it lowers your stress responses. So trees, branches, wood furniture, wood floors, those types of things are very grounding to us as human beings. Here we go. All right, minimal investment. So here are, minimal investment, repaint, bring in some natural elements. Repainting is so inexpensive, and it really helps reframe a space, rebrand a space. Oh, I keep doing that. And it's a cheap change, basically. Buy only healthy drinks and snacks for your team. I mean, they can eat what they want, but it's nice to have something that is helpful to them. Move break rooms into places that receive natural light. That's huge, to not have the post-lunch, you know, blues and the slumps. Install a bike rack, so as a visual cue to encourage movement. Look into discounted gym memberships for employees. Look into sit-stand desks. You know, all of these things are encouraging health and movement, but for minimal cost. The most investment would be to upgrade big things like your lighting system, your water filtration, your HVAC unit, changing out window treatments to open and close automatically with daylight hours. So it helps to train your circadian rhythm, and then you can sleep better at night. I mean, it is, like I said, it's a rabbit hole and you can go down it. Consider looking into designing your office space as a well-certified space. If that is not something that you want to do, consider taking all of these other elements and doing something with your own space and doing what you can and see if there's a change. Our email address is at the bottom of this page. I would love to hear your stories. If you decide to implement anything from today, I would love to hear your success stories and how your employees, how you have benefited from this. So at Inspired Spaces, which is my company, we enhance well-being. We design environments that fuel our bodies, move us, keep us connected, inspire our best work, and facilitate a good night's sleep. Healthier, happier people perform better, and healthier companies outperform their peers. So here we go. These are all the things we learned today. Enhance your employee productivity, outperform your peer organizations, attract and retain top tier talent, increase job satisfaction, see a marked increase in employee performance for sure. So healthier businesses in turn support a healthier global economy. And after all, what good is working to become incredibly wealthy if you aren't healthy enough to enjoy it? Doesn't make any sense. So I would love to open the floor at this point. I'm going to move to the reference page, and then I'd love to open the floor to questions. So I'll open the chat, or if anyone wants to unmute.
Yeah, thank you, Natasha. I was just going to say, please feel free to unmute and ask any questions that you might have about this. Or put a question in the chat if you'd rather do that, that's okay too. I think what I found most fascinating is how some of these changes are really small, you know, and that they can make a really big difference, and you just have to think about it differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like buying healthy snacks, where you're buying snacks anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what's fascinating is that when you create an environment of well-being and satisfaction, just a enjoyment of being in the space, it inspires people to bring their best. It inspires creativity. They want to come to work. It's not drudgery, and it creates more of a joyful atmosphere, which I think in turn is so directly correlated with why productivity is so up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how have you introduced this to your new clients, and are people, you know, really embracing and making these changes, both in home environments and in professional environments?
Yes. I think when people see the difference, it speaks for itself. I don't have to, I can encourage, but then the proof happens. It is one of those things that when people feel wonderful about coming to work or wonderful about coming home, it changes the whole dynamic, right? And that's always our goal as a design firm, is to create spaces that people feel warm and welcoming and at peace in. But when you bring those qualities and combine them with these wellness principles and put them into an office space or a public space, it's unexpected, and it's a phenomenal experience. Oh, Diane, that's great. I just read your chat. We have a design studio that we all love and love to work. However, now I'm going to bring in fresh plants and healthy snacks. That's awesome. That's great, Diane.
Oh, I have one last question. Do
Yes.
you also test for things like air quality in the workspace, and how do you do that?
There are air quality sensors that you can buy. I mean, you can even buy them on Amazon. You can install air quality sensors. That's what one in the case study that I shared about the company in London, that's what they did. They installed air quality sensors around their offices. The issue sometimes, especially in our county, is that we have lots of fires in California. And so the air quality sensors aren't always super accurate because there's a lot of smoke in the air. I mean, they're accurate. They tell you there's lots of smoke in the air, but there's not a lot you can do about that unless you upgrade your HVAC system.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions for Natasha? That was great. Really, really helpful information.
Oh, good.
And just so everyone knows, this is recorded and it'll be on the IEA YouTube page by the end of the week. And to find that, you just go to the IEA website and click the little YouTube button and it'll take you right to it. So if you want to share this with some folks at your office or, you know, some clients or something like that, you're welcome and encouraged to do so.
All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everybody.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.